The Toronto Raptors could be eyeing a big trade for Anthony Davis. Yes, there was a report by Shams as he stated that the Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks, and Toronto Raptors are expected to be trade suitors for Dallas Mavericks star Anthony Davis. Now, there's still a world where Davis can remain on the Mavericks, but if the Mavericks do end up trading Anthony Davis, the Raptors, could they swoop in and go after the star big men? The Raptors, they are no strangers when it comes to being linked to big names, and Davis, he is a player who is believed to be on the move. That is, if the Mavericks do indeed blow it up. I mean, they could go that route with Davis, with Clay, with Kyrie, and just go all in on Cooper Flack. So in this one, we're going to take a look at the idea of an Anthony Davis trade for the Toronto Raptors and if it makes sense for this team. Do me a solid, guys. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Raptors content just like this. The Raptors, they're going to have about a week plus off after their latest loss to the New York Knicks. They are out of the NBA Cup, and my goodness, has this team fallen from grace. The Toronto Raptors, after winning 9 games in a row and 13 of 14, they have now lost 4 games in a row and 6 of 7. This team has not looked good. RJ Barrett, he continues to be out. Obviously, without him, the Raptors have faltered big time. Quickly missed that game against the Knicks. Jakob Poeltl hasn't looked the same. And I was really looking for someone to step up during the RJ Barrett absence. One of the younger players, and we haven't seen that. Grady Dick has not looked good. So there's been a lot of negatives with this ball club. And the Raptors, they will have a week plus now to reset and get back to the basics and try to get back on track. I mean, this was a team that was sitting in second, and now they're, 5th? And they're a mere game away from being in the back end of the play-in in 9th. Half game up on that 9th spot. So this team has quickly faltered. But let's get to the topic of the video, and that is an Anthony Davis trade. So should the Raptors pursue Anthony Davis? I mean, when you look at the Eastern Conference, the one thing that stands out is the fact that it is wide open. Like, this is any team's conference for the taking. There's not one team that has definitively looked better than the rest, in my opinion. Like, the Knicks are presumably the favorite, I would say, as of now, but they don't look unbeatable. The Celtics get a lot more interesting if Jason Tatum returns before a playoff run, but the East looks like it is as wide open as ever. And the Raptors could be looking at that as an opportunity for them to go for it. And by them trading for Anthony Davis, they would essentially be going all in on that goal of trying to get out of the East. Now, what could a Toronto Raptors trade for Anthony Davis look like? I think the Raptors trade for Davis would include either Emmanuel Quickley or RJ Barrett along with Jakob Poeltl. There's some valuable salaries there to match AD's salary and draft compensation. I think that's the framework of a deal. You'll probably need some other pieces just to make sure the salary works, but the framework of the deal is essentially Quickley or Barrett along with Poeltl and draft compensation for AD. Now, it's which players are going to be. And a lot of people are quick to say, yeah, let's get off Quickley, Poeltl, whatever other filler you need to make the salary work and draft compensation for Davis, sign me up. But I do think the Mavericks would want RJ Barrett, who's the better player. I mean, we've seen how big of a piece he has been for this Raptors offense, and the Mavericks, if they are looking to start over, they do have a good young guard in Ryan Nembhard, who I don't think is going to go away. So are they really going to be interested in Quickley? I feel like they would much rather have RJ Barrett. So then, would the Raptors part ways with RJ to get a deal done for Davis? I think the Raptors would have one of the more competitive packages because the other teams that are linked to Davis, Pistons are probably going to center a trade package around Ivy, and then the Hawks probably Ricochet, like they wouldn't trade obviously Trey or Jalen Johnson. So the Raptors, they do have like some pretty strong role players, which is what the Mavs are believed to want back in a deal like this, and some future draft compensation they can attach to that deal. Now, if the Raptors were to go all in on Anthony Davis, you look at it, Anthony Davis, Scottie Barnes, and Brandon Ingram, like that big three, I think would be good enough to make a run. But at the same time, it's like, what else would be left of the Raptors? Like, if you're going to rely heavily on those three players, the Raptors have shown their lack of depth. Like, a lot of guys haven't stepped up to the point where you want to see them. You know, Abaji hasn't looked that good. Dick, you look at Jacoby Walter. So the depth would still be a big issue. But on paper, I mean, that looks pretty menacing, especially when you talk about the defensive pairing of Davis and Barnes. I mean, that would be spectacular. Like, you're looking at the best defensive tandem in the NBA, Scottie Barnes and Anthony Davis. The defense would be surreal. But the issue would be, I think, with the spacing, because you look at those three players. I mean, Ingram and Davis are both mid-range type of players, and even though Barnes has improved greatly this season from three-point range, he is best when he's in attack mode and he's getting downhill. So the spacing could be an issue, and the Raptors' lack of three-point shooting would be problematic. And then the other issue when it comes to a Raptors trade for Davis would be on the financial side of things. I mean, Davis' salary is only going to grow if you look at it. He's owed a lot of money. He's making $54 million this season. Then he's on the books for $58 million next season. Then he's got a player option for 2027, 2028. He's probably going to opt out of that to seek one more large payday before his career is over. So Davis is in line for a ton of money, and you're adding that to an already expensive roster. It could very well set the Raptors back for many years, especially if this move doesn't pan out, because you are going all in on Davis and you are hoping it works out. But let's just say it goes the other way, then you're screwed. And of course, the last thing to consider here is Davis's health. It's a huge risk for any team trying to trade for him. And for as great, elite Davis can be, he has constantly had injury setbacks. You just can't trust him. Like, that is the one thing that negates Davis's greatness. Can this guy stay healthy? Is he able to be relied on? But you know what's funny? We had those same type of question marks with Brandon Ingram, and so far so good, knock on wood. So, I mean, if there's one team that can resurrect a star with injury concerns, it is this Raptors team with their medical staff. I mean, they did it with Kawhi. They're doing it now with Brandon Ingram. They would try for the three-peat with Anthony Davis. So ultimately, it is going to be interesting to see how aggressive the Raptors do get. I mean, overall, to this point, you could say the Raptors, I know it's been disappointing as of late, but they've still overachieved in a sense. I mean, a lot of people had this team in the play-in or missing the play-in. I know they're only like a half game of falling back into the play-in, but they're still 15-11, all things considered. And they don't necessarily have to make a desperate move here or an aggressive push. Wait till RJ gets back. Wait until this team does get fully healthy. Use the next week to get fully healthy. And then really gauge where this team is at right before the trade deadline. Because you aren't able to trade Jakob Poeltl until January 7th anyway. So it's not like you can trade for AD tomorrow. Time is going to be on your side here in terms of seeing how things play out. And then also you want to see how Anthony Davis looks from now until then. Is he going to have another injury setback, or is he going to play dominant basketball, which in turn would then raise his price? I guess where I stand on this, I don't think it's something that I'm saying, yeah, go all in for AD. I am more inclined to say, let's let this thing play out. I mean, you just made one big trade for Ingram. You're still trying to see if that is going to work out for the long haul properly. I don't think you have to go after another big star. I think you could take the patient approach. They'd be better suited to get another backup big that's not going to cost you as much. But if they do want to go all in for AD, I just think the Mavs would want RJ Barrett back. That is a deal that you could do, because I don't think the spacing would get any better. If anything, it's worse if you then have RJ Barrett, AD, Scottie Barnes, and Ingram. So it probably is RJ Barrett if you trade for Anthony Davis. So we'll see, but let me know. Do you want to see the Raptors go all in for Anthony Davis? Do you think it moves the needle? That's the biggest thing here. If the Raptors do trade for Anthony Davis, they strongly believe they're good enough to get out of the East. going back to the point I made earlier, just don't know if they would have the right depth at that point. So do you think this pushes the Raptors over the top? Do you think it's worth it? Huge risk factor here. But the Raptors, they definitely need to turn things around because they have been struggling as of late. But let me know your thoughts, guys, down below. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. That is it for me. It's Luke signing off. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all again in the next one.